Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mortuary. I am the Mortician, and today I have a recent albums pickup. This is part 12, I believe. So yeah, let's get right into this. First thing we have here is Two Molds, Manner of Infinite Forms. Really sick cover art. I don't know why they have it all black partially. They should really just like have the whole thing, you know, take up the whole cassette case. But either way, this is a death metal band from Canada, and god damn, these guys fucking slay it. There is not a single moment of downtime on this record. This is just pulverizing death metal, kind of similar to something like Spectral Voice or Mortician. It's in that same vein of just like really unrelenting death metal. Not really for the faint of heart, but it is a great record, and I definitely think you guys should give these Canada boys some support. They do have a Bandcamp, so if you can't find the cassette or the CD, definitely go to their Bandcamp and pick this album up, because it's actually a really good album. I really enjoy it. And of course, it is indeed colored. It is orange. I absolutely love like colored cassettes and vinyls, if you can't tell. Like, I always have to show them off when I have them, but it's actually not that bad of a shade of orange. It looks really good. So yeah, Two Molds, Manner of Infinite Forms. Pick this up. Next we have Gomorrah. This is their self-titled. If you're not familiar with Gomorrah, they're actually a local band. They're from my local scene over in Providence. This band kills it. If I had to put them in a genre, I don't know if I feel comfortable. They're kind of like a harsher, I don't want to call them metalcore, but maybe like a slightly... It's so hard to put them in a genre. They just sound like Gomorrah, which is a good thing. They sound like themselves. I really haven't heard any band that sounds like them. I can't compare them to anything. I can't really slap them in a genre. It just sounds like Gomorrah, and that's absolutely awesome. Definitely a good find, because I saw these guys back in like 2013, 2014, around that time. Simon 677. They were actually they weren't opening. They were a supporting act for Shadows Fall, and they did an awesome job. I wanted to pick up one of their records. I actually saw the vocalist at the time. His name is Neil. And I was telling him how awesome it was. I was asking him if he had anything available for me to buy. So he brought me over to the merch table, and they didn't have any CDs. I was kind of heartbroken, because like I really wanted to support them, because they put on a great show. They put on an amazing show. So I didn't have this record, but at Armageddon, the last time I went, they actually had the CD for $2, and I was like, of course I'm gonna pick it up, because I really like this band. It's probably my favorite local band other than Churchburn, because Churchburn is probably my favorite. I really dig the Awaiting Coffins, but Gomorrah is an amazing band. I think they have a Reverb Nation, so you should try to check them out on Reverb Nation if you can. Next, we have Black Sabbath's Dehumanizer. I did not listen to this whole thing yet. I have to really be in the mood to listen to Black Sabbath. Not because I think they're a bad band or whatever. It's just one of those bands where like I love immensely. Like I have quite a few Black Sabbath records, but I just have to be in the mood to listen to it. Basically, I listened to the first song, and the first song is amazing. It's called Computer God. And that riff has got to be one of the best riffs, if not the best riff Black Sabbath has ever, or Tony Iommi has ever come up with. It's just such an awesome riff. I listened to that song twice, and each time the song just like that riff just stuck in my ear. It just stayed there for like such a long time. And this is actually Ronnie James Dio era Black Sabbath, so I always love Dio, so once again, can't say whether or not I recommend it because I haven't listened to the whole thing, but based off the first song, it's pretty sick, I guess. Next, we have Destroyer 666's Wildfire. Destroyer 666, I'm not sure where they're from. I think, don't quote me, I think they're from Norway. But they're a blackened thrash metal band. If you're not familiar with I don't actually know where to start with them, because like, this is the only record I have. Funny story about getting this record is I was actually going to pick up their record. It's called Phoenix Rising. And I asked the guy who works at Armageddon, hey, have you listened to these guys? Is this a good place to start and whatnot? And he goes, well, there's not a bad place to start. But he went over to the CDs. He picked out this one. So he played a song off Phoenix Rising, and he played a song off this. And ultimately, I decided to go with this because it was more what I was going for. It's black and thrash still, but it has a certain level of catchiness and certain level, I wouldn't call it melody, but kind of. It's infectious once you hear it. It's an infectious kind of album. It just gets in your ear and stays there. I absolutely love this record. So yeah, definitely support these guys, especially this record. So I believe this is their latest, as far as I know. Next, we have Accepts The Rise of Chaos. I forgot for a second. If you're not familiar with Accept, they're I believe, I don't know where they are, but they're basically a heavy metal band back from like the 80s or maybe the late 70s. They're a pretty awesome band, and this is actually the last record I ever picked up from Best Buy. I'm so glad I did. There are so many, like, those of you who watch my channel know that I found Firepower to be somewhat disappointing, but this actually filled that void, because there is definitely like hints of like Judas Priest and hints of actually AC/DC in some of their stuff. But they sound like them. They sound like Accept, but they have those hints in them. The solos on this record are done so fucking well. Just the riffs are fucking catchy and just sick. I really, really enjoy this record. So yeah, it's a good record to end my buying binge, I guess you can say, at Best Buy. I don't really buy from there often, but it's a good last record from there. Next, we have Doom's Rush Hour of the Gods. I fucking love this band. If you're not familiar with Doom, they are a crust punk band from the UK, and they're basically borderline grindcore. I believe Napalm Death actually cites Doom for inspiration for their stuff. And you can totally see it, just the way the guitars are and the way the vocals are. It's all like super, super angry. The songs are pretty short, if I recall. I don't think there's a single song over like 3 minutes, if I recall. But it's super, super fucking awesome. It's actually a really great record. I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did, just simply because, like, I don't know. I for whatever reason, I thought Doom was gonna be one of those bands that just like everyone loved, but I just wouldn't. But I fell in love with this band. They're fucking awesome. I definitely recommend you pick up this record. That's Doom's Rush Hour of the Gods. Now we have the last of the CDs, and that's Moonspell's Irreligious. And I actually have a funny story about how I got this. First, if you're not familiar with Moonspell, they are a gothic metal band from Portugal. They're actually a pretty good gothic metal band. I've heard quite a bit of their stuff. Even though this is the only record I own, my friend actually puts on a lot of their stuff while we're out and even when we're hanging out. So they're pretty awesome in my opinion. But the way I got this, basically, it was around my friend's birthday. I was looking for a gift. I asked him, what Moonspell records do you have? Because he has quite a few. So basically, he lists them. But he does something. He calls this record Irreligious. He calls it Opium because he doesn't like the name Irreligious or the word Irreligious. And I kind of agree with his reasoning. I really don't like the way that word sounds. But I didn't know that's what he called it. So I looked up on the Metallum, And there was a single or an EP, I can't remember, before or after this, called Opium. I was like, okay, I'll buy him this record. He's gonna love it. It's one of the higher rated on Metallum, so he'll enjoy it. He opens it up and he goes, I have this. And I was like, no, you don't. I looked up at the list like 13 different times. You don't have this. And he scrolls up the fucking, up the messages and he goes, oh, I called it Opium. I was like, oh, fuck, did I just buy my first Moonspell record? And sure enough, I did. It's such a weird way to get an album, but anyway, I did buy him another gift. I bought him Payne's Cynic Paradise as per his request. He actually gave me a list of what he wanted, so that way, I wouldn't mess it up, but whatever. Strange way to get a record, but it's a good record, so I don't mind. Now for the single vinyl I have, and that's Dream Death's Journey into Mystery. I love this record. I've been on the lookout for this record for a while, actually. I just couldn't find it for whatever reason. Armageddon never really had it until recently. Newberry didn't get it. Dream Death is too obscure for Newberry to get. So it's really, really, really cool to finally find this record, and not just find it, but find it on vinyl. I brought it home. I listened to it once. I went, meh, it's okay. So the next day, I ended up listening to it like 3 times in a single day, 3 or 4 times in a single day. It's one of those albums that, like, the first time you listen to it, it's meh, but like on the second listen, it sounds amazing. I don't know what it is about this record, but the first listen, it was like, this is okay. But the second listen, I was like over the moon about it. I couldn't stop listening to it. Like I said, I put it on like 3 or 4 times the next day. So it's just one of those strange records that just ages like wine. I really, really love the record. It actually came with a poster. I would turn my camera to show you if it weren't for the fact that my tripod's leg comes off. So that's it for this, for today's recent album pickups. Have you listened to any of these bands? Do you have any of these records? Tell me what you think. I would love to hear what you guys are listening to down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Mortician, peace out.